Good evening, beloved, and welcome back to our peaceful channel. And welcome back to a diary entry. The last diary entry, I was explaining to you that since 2025 started, I had felt off, I had felt weird, and I couldn't really put my hands on, I really couldn't identify what had been going on, right? Well, right after I recorded the video, I mean, it was like almost immediately after I turned the camera off, it dawned on me what I was feeling and why I was feeling that way. I felt better when I realized what was going on because I did the thing. I released for the first time ever to anyone the ministry that God gave me. All those weird feelings was my spirit and God basically telling me, I gave you something and you're not sharing it. You are prepping for this, you're doing that. When are you going to just speak it and say it? Right? And so without even thinking about it, in that last video, in that diary entry, I did. The acronym that he gave me was PEACE, for praying earnestly among conflicting environments. And life was decent. I was feeling good. The year started to the year started to become clearer. I started actually working on things. I started just going through a list of what needed to be done to get the ministry in motion, to get the ministry, in existence, right? And then all of that came to a complete halt last week. I let the enemy get into my head. There was a lot of things that had happened in February, towards the end of February, that I wasn't happy with. I wasn't happy with. And I'm going to go over some of those things right now. The first issue that I had was, I know it's going to cost money. It's going to cost money to start this thing. I mean, the tax filing alone is hundreds of dollars, right? And so I started thinking about, okay, how is this gonna be? Where am I gonna get the extra funds from to do this, to even do the tax filings, right? To get the thing in existence. Where is these funds gonna come from? So I took that burden upon myself and I started trying to figure out ways of how we were. I keep losing my paper. I started trying to figure out ways to make extra money to get, to have the money to pay for all the fees and expenses that building this ministry is going to cost. Reallocating funds, right? That was one of the ways I was going to do that. And I normally, since my firm, Hairston Law, is not um as profitable as I would like for it to be right now, I normally take some of the contracting money that I get to fund some of the law firm stuff. You know, I normally do that, and I decided that I was not going to do that. I was going to use the contracting funds to fund the ministry instead. So I needed a way to make up for what I was not going to be putting into the firm. And so I decided that I was going to run a promotion for the month of February to kind of bring in new clients, to bring in new business, to bring in extra revenue, extra revenue, right? And so I did that. I implemented, and notice what I'm saying. Right? I implemented this promotion where for the whole month of February, I did 20% off of a service. And I ran a well, I didn't run an ad, but I posted every day in February on Facebook for the service every single day, sometimes two, twice, three times a day. I even started utilizing stories to promote this. I got very discouraged at the end of February because I did not get one lead from those postings. Nothing came of it. It was like I did absolutely nothing. I did get a couple of people to inquire about the services, but there was no new clients that came in from the promotion. I was heartbroken and very disappointed, which caused me to completely shut down. Because at this point, I'm really feeling like, okay, how, if that's not going to work, I was like, well, if that's not going to work, what am I supposed to do? Like, how, it didn't seem possible to fund the ministry. Then my time started getting smaller and smaller. There was a point in February that I was doing really well about doing legal work during the daytime, and on every evening I had time to work on the ministry. And my Monday admin days, I was doing really well with taking those days and spending those days working on the ministry. I was getting stuff done. And then last week, I was getting nothing done. I had no time. It felt like I had no time to do anything. I mean, it took me forever to finish the bylaws, but I'm happy to report the bylaws are finished today. They did get finished today, but you will see all that in the vlog. I do have a vlog coming that will be coming after this goes up, so you'll learn all about that. But it took me a lifetime, it seems, to even get those done. You know, everything that I had on my list, I think in the vlogs, if you've been paying attention to those, you know that I share with you my monthly to-do list for the ministry work. And for the month of February, I got nothing completed. Well, I'm not going to say that. I did get a couple of things completed, but I didn't get a lot of things completed because there was a point, like I said, I completely shut down. I didn't have any time to do anything else. So again, at that point, I kept saying, it kept reiterated in my head, this is not possible. This is not possible. The third thing, because I didn't feel like I was going to be able to properly fund the ministry, and because I felt like I didn't have enough time to even do the simplest tasks, my confidence in the assignment began to decrease. I didn't feel like I was qualified anymore. I started feeling like I got it wrong. You know, I started feeling like God didn't call me to do this. I think I heard it wrong. I started to doubt the assignment. I started to doubt my purpose, which caused me again to shut down. Because of those things, I was not able to accomplish anything last week. For 2 weeks, actually, I didn't really accomplish anything. So, how did I overcome those feelings? I had a full-fledged business meeting with God to discuss everything with Him. The summary of that meeting, I learned that I was not properly trusting Him. I actually didn't have any trust at all, which is weird, right? Because I say every day that I trust Him. I say that all the time that I trust Him. But the actions that I was taking, the thoughts that I was allowing to consume me, was evidence that, nope, I didn't trust. I had no trust. I had no trust because of the things that I was seeing in front of me. I was taking those things and listening to believing that instead of believing what God had already spoken to me about. And I came to that realization during our business meeting, our full-fledged business meeting. I came to that realization with a couple of scriptures. The first one being Hebrews 13:5. Let your conversation be without covetousness, and be content with such things as ye have, for he hath said, I will never leave thee nor forsake thee. We've heard that scripture many, many times. And I always recite, he would never leave me, he would never forsake me. But the rest of that, we forget. Or the rest of that, the beginning of that scripture, we don't talk about very much. Let your conversation be without covetousness. What is it that you're wanting? Right? Look at what you're wanting. Consider the things that you're asking for or the things that you're talking about. What are you desiring? Right? What are the things that you're desiring? I had made it up in my mind of how this ministry was going to be funded. My own self. I thought I consulted with God, but I don't think I actually waited for his answer until now. Because what the actions that I started taking was me trying to go after something that I had no business trying to go after. Right? I'm not trying to file the tax filings today, or I wasn't trying to file them last week. I was trying to walk ahead of where I was actually supposed to be. Trying to do too much. I wasn't being content with the situation that I was in. I wasn't being content at just knowing that all I need to do is to carry out these simple assignments that he has given me, and he's going to do the rest. Don't worry about how the ministry is going to be funded, right? When the time comes for it to be funded, he will provide. Now, he has told me that plenty of times, but for some reason, for the last 2 weeks, I didn't hear it. I could not hear that. I couldn't understand that. I couldn't see that because I was coveting. I was desiring to have the funds right now, which led me to do a promotion that failed, basically, as it should have failed because it was out of line to what I was called to do. It was out of line of the will of God. He is orchestrating my steps as he's orchestrating your steps. And when we go ahead of what he has already set in place, things do tend to not go as we planned. So he had to remind me that you need to be content in the situation that you're in and trust me. Trust me. I will never leave you nor forsake you. The next scripture he gave me was Deuteronomy 8:18. And I'm going to read it from the Bible here because I did not put I did not write it in the journal. And this is what it says. But thou shalt remember the Lord thy God, for it is he that giveth thee power to get wealth, that he may establish his covenant which he sware unto thy fathers, as it is this day. God has created us and given us the opportunity to create wealth, right? If he created us to have the opportunity to do that, shouldn't we wait to follow his lead? Shouldn't we lean on him when we're trying to take advantage of the opportunity to create wealth? I guess that would be a better way of saying it, right? I was trying to create it my own way, right? I had already set in my mind how this was supposed to work, how all of this was supposed to work, and got it completely wrong, right? Which led to a lot of noise in my head, which led to a lot of chaos, which led to me actually not doing anything. I got nothing done. Had I remembered that it's the Lord that has given me the opportunity, that has created the opportunity, has given me power to create wealth, had I remembered that and remembered to trust him and let him lead the way, I wouldn't have got into my feelings. It wouldn't have that failure wouldn't have taken my confidence. I wouldn't have been trying to figure out where money was going to come from when money wasn't needed. All that was needed was for me to do the work. And instead of me actually doing the work, I was worried about something that wasn't necessary. You see how that got me all got me all confused? My eyes was not on what my eyes was supposed to been on. So therefore, I missed the mark and got nothing done, got completely behind. All from the fact that I didn't trust God. I was trying to trust myself. I was trying to take care of myself. How am I going to take care of myself? How am I going to figure out how to do something that God has given me? Let me say that in a better way. How am I going to make decisions solely by myself on a business that God created and just gave me to run? It's his business, right? I have no knowledge of how to run it. I don't think like he does. He doesn't think like us. So if I don't consult with him and I try to do it my way, of course I'm going to get it wrong. Each and every time. If I'm not content with the part of the business that he's telling me to operate at that moment, how am I going to be successful in operating any of the other parts the way that he wants it? It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that at all. I had to learn that because the thing is, I could have been in a better position right now with the amount of work. Okay. So when it comes to the time, because I had all those feelings and I was letting all of this negative stuff enter into my brain, I wasn't utilizing my time wisely, right? I was working on legal work. I was focused on legal work because at the moment, that is the only thing that was making money, right? That is the way that I make money as of right now. The only way that I make money as of right now. So psychologically, I was forcing myself to just do the work that was actually making me, that was actually producing money so I can have money for the ministry. But what good would that do when I wasn't working on the ministry? It wasn't moving. It wasn't it wasn't being built. I had stopped building it because I was trying to work to fund it. That really doesn't make sense because if you stop building it, what are you using the funds for? There's nothing there. Because I wasn't content with the situation, because I wasn't content with trusting God, because I wasn't content at knowing that when the time comes for things to get paid, for things to be done, that God will provide, I started coveting money. I started coveting ways to produce wealth, which falsely led me to believe that I can do this on my own. And with that false sense of I can do this on my own, it led me to the name of this diary entry. It doesn't seem possible because it wasn't possible. At that moment in time, it didn't seem possible because I was trying to do it on my own. So, we say we trust him all the time. It's really, I'm not going to say it's harder than we think it is, but it's a little challenging, right? And it does take work. It does take work. You have to keep reminding yourself that he's got your back every second of the day, because it's easy to fall into the trap that you're not trusting him, right? Prayer is so necessary at every second, every moment of the day. Anytime there's an inkling in your mind that, wait a minute, this is happening, this can cause me to worry, we got to pray about it. We have to pray without ceasing, earnestly pray about it. So it won't take away, so it won't steal the trust that we have in God, that we say we have in God. Because if you say that you trust God, but then on the other end, you're worried about something, or you're trying, or something that is going on causes you to move a different way, causes you to react in a different way, that's evidence that you're not trusting in God. You're not trusting in the word that he gave you. You're not trusting that he's going to take care of you. If any inconvenience in our lives makes us move in a different way, makes us operate in a different way, makes us think in a different way, then we may not be trusting in God. I wasn't. I had this conversation with God on March the 3rd. March the 3rd. It's right here. The Saturday before that, which was March 1st, that was the Saturday before that, March 1st, I had went to the library to get a book to read. And one of the books that I did pick up was Joyce Meyer's Unshakable Trust. And I have been reading this, well, I'm only on page 21, so I haven't been doing a lot of reading in this book. But I picked that book up because I didn't really know how relevant it was to the conversation that me and God end up having on the 3rd. But I picked it up because when I read it, something in my spirit said, you need to read more of this, right? So me picking that book up, and then the conversation that me and God had on the 3rd, which I told you on the 3rd, he had given me Hebrew 13:5, Deuteronomy 8:18, and Exodus 4:11 through 12. He had given me all of those scriptures. And when you boil all of those down, the essence of those scriptures are to trust God. Hebrews, let your conversation be without covetousness, and be content with such things as ye have. For he hath said, I will never leave thee nor forsake thee. Don't want more than what you have. Don't want more than what God is giving you at that point. Trust that he will give you everything that you need when you need it. Deuteronomy 8:18. But thou shalt remember the Lord thy God, for it is he that giveth thee power to get wealth, that he may establish his covenant which he swore unto thy fathers, as it is this day. Don't worry about how you're going to make money. Don't worry about being wealthy. Don't worry about any of those things. God has already promised your fathers. God has already promised your ancestors that he will take care of you, that he will give you wealth as long as you abide and trust in him. Once again, trust. Exodus. And the Lord said unto him, who hath made man's mouth? Or who maketh the dumb or deaf or the seeing or the blind? Have not I the Lord? Now therefore go, and I will be with thy mouth, and teach thee what thou shalt say. I created you. I created your mouth. I created your eyes. I created your tongue. Don't you think I will show you? Don't you think I will tell you what to say? I gave you this job. Don't you think I'm going to show you how to do it? I gave you that task. Don't you think I'm going to show you, prepare you for that? Just go. And when you get there, I will be there to show you. Trust. Trust. We've got to learn how to have unshakable trust. When I realized the summary of what he was speaking to me about, I immediately looked at this book and I was like, that's the exact reason why you told me to get this book. So I can learn about having unshakable trust. And beloved, I encourage you to do the same. And the only tip that I have for you on how to do that is at every point and at every minute of the day, when you start to feel like your mind is wandering, when you start to feel like your emotions are changing because of the situation around you, start praying. Start praying. Immediately. Stop everything that you're doing and pray. Pray earnestly among conflicting environments. Well, beloved, that is it for this diary entry. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope it blessed you. If it did, give this video a thumbs up. Please share it with someone whom you think will benefit from it as well. And until next time, be guided by his light.